Commander Maya Chen stood motionless on the bridge of the Dominion warship Relentless, her eyes fixed on the holographic display of Earth rotating slowly before her. 50 years of Saurian occupation had transformed her homeworld into a patchwork of strip mines and processing facilities. From orbit, the scars were visible even through the perpetual dust clouds that now shrouded the planet. "Commander, incoming transmission from High Command," announced her communications officer, a young Vaporian whose gaseous form shimmered nervously within its containment suit. Maya straightened her spine, the neural implant at the base of her skull tingling as it monitored her emotional responses. "Route it to my private terminal." In her 15 years of service to the Stellar Dominion, Maya had mastered the art of emotional suppression. It was how she'd survived the conscription camps, how she'd risen through the ranks to become the first human to command a Dominion battle cruiser. The Saurians valued her tactical brilliance, but never trusted her species. Humans were too unpredictable, too adaptable, too dangerous. The transmission decoded itself on her screen, classified at the highest level. Maya's expression remained carefully neutral as the contents revealed themselves. Final authorization for Project Terminus. The complete processing of Earth. Not the continued resource extraction she'd been led to believe, but total planetary strip mining that would render the surface uninhabitable within months. For a fraction of a second, horror broke through her carefully maintained facade. The ship's AI immediately flagged the anomaly. Emotional deviation detected in Commander Chen. Security Protocol 9 Alpha initiated. Maya's training kicked in. She forced her breathing to slow, her heart rate to stabilize. "Temporary synaptic misalignment," she stated calmly. "Recalibrating neural implant." But the damage was done. Her Saurian second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vex, approached her station, reptilian eyes narrowing with suspicion. "Is there a problem, Commander?" His scaled hand rested casually on his pulse weapon. "No problem, Sub-Commander. High Command has accelerated the Earth processing timeline. We're to begin preliminary scans immediately." Maya met his gaze steadily, though her mind raced through possibilities, calculations, escape vectors. "I should review the transmission personally," Vex insisted. "Standard protocol for planetary processing." Maya knew what he didn't say. Standard protocol for worlds where the commander shared genetic heritage with the processing target. "Of course," she replied, transferring the data while simultaneously executing a covert command sequence. The ship's automated loyalty assessment program was already scanning her neural patterns for signs of treason. She had minutes, perhaps seconds. As Vex reviewed the orders, Maya made her decision. The resistance cells she'd been monitoring, officially to eradicate them, secretly to evaluate their potential, were no longer a contingency plan. They were her only option. "Prepare a shuttle," she ordered. "I'll conduct the preliminary survey personally." Vex stepped forward, blocking her path. "That would violate Dominion protocol, Commander. Your loyalty chip indicates elevated stress patterns." Maya looked at the crew watching this confrontation. Humans, cetaceans, Lithari, all conquered species serving under Saurian rule, all with families on subjugated worlds. "The protocol changed when they decided to murder my planet," Maya said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Then, in a fluid motion that surprised even Vex, she drew her sidearm and fired. The rebellion had begun. Maya's shuttle cut through Earth's toxic atmosphere, navigation systems struggling against the perpetual dust storms that had become the planet's new weather pattern. 50 years of Dominion mining had left the atmosphere saturated with particulates that scattered sensor readings and turned daylight into perpetual amber twilight. She guided the craft lower, toward the ruins of what had once been Seattle. Her falsified mission logs reported she was investigating resistance activity in the region. For once, the lie was close to truth. The shuttle settled in the cratered remains of a park, dust swirling around its landing struts. Maya sealed her envirosuit and stepped out, the Dominion's neural trackers temporarily fooled by a signal scrambler she'd integrated into her helmet. She had 36 hours before the Relentless would expect her return. 36 hours before Sub-Commander Vex, now recovering in the medical bay from her defensive stun blast, would convince High Command of her betrayal. Maya followed the coordinates from intercepted resistance transmissions, picking her way through skeletal skyscrapers and collapsed infrastructure. Her suit's sensors detected movement ahead, humanoid figures using the ruins for cover. "That's far enough. Dominion dog," came a voice from the shadows, followed by the distinctive whine of salvaged energy weapons powering up. Maya slowly raised her hands. "I'm not here as the Dominion. I'm here because of Project Terminus." Silence followed, then a figure emerged from behind a fallen concrete pillar, a man with a scared face partially concealed by an outdated rebreather. His eyes widened as Maya removed her helmet. "Maya." The man's voice cracked. "Maya Chen." The recognition hit her like a physical blow. "Kai, they told me you died in the Melbourne Purge." Her brother's laugh was bitter. "The Dominions told a lot of lies. Add it to the list." Their reunion was cut short by the distant whine of Dominion hunters, automated drones programmed to track unauthorized shuttles. Kai grabbed her arm. "They followed you." "Impossible. I disabled They've upgraded their tech. Move. Now." They sprinted through the ruins, ducking into what remained of a subway entrance. A dozen resistance fighters awaited them, their faces showing the malnutrition and radiation exposure common among Earth's survivors. "We've got 5 minutes before they triangulate our position," a young woman announced, monitoring a cobbled-together scanner. Kai led Maya deeper into the tunnels as the first explosions rocked the surface above. "They're not just trying to capture you," he explained, navigating the darkness with practiced ease. "They're eliminating evidence." "Evidence of what?" Maya demanded. They emerged into a larger chamber, once a subway station, now a resistance headquarters. At its center stood an apparatus unlike anything in the Dominion's arsenal, organic technology interfaced with mechanical components. "Of this," Kai said, gesturing toward the device. "The Prometheus Protocol. The reason the Saurians are accelerating Earth's destruction." Maya approached it cautiously. "What is it?" "Something the pre-Dominion government developed. The Saurians found most of our weapons stockpiles when they invaded, but they never understood our neurotechnology research. This prototype uses human neural pathways to generate a disruption field. It can override the Dominion's quantum-locked defense systems. A massive explosion above sent dust raining down. Part of the ceiling collapsed, crushing equipment and trapping their lead engineer beneath debris. "We need to move," Kai shouted. "We've lost this location." As they hurriedly packed essential components, Maya realized the terrible truth. They're not processing Earth for resources, are they? Kai met her gaze, his expression grim. "No, they're eliminating humanity because they discovered what our brains can do to their precious empire." The Dominion command station orbiting Jupiter loomed like a massive steel serpent, its segmented rings rotating in opposite directions to create artificial gravity. Maya's shuttle docked in the military bay, her carefully crafted report on resistance activity already transmitted ahead. Her return from Earth carried more than data, it carried purpose. As she stepped off the shuttle, Admiral Krex himself waited on the platform, his scaled form towering over her human frame. The Saurian High Commander's yellow eyes narrowed to slits as she approached. "Commander Chen," he hissed, the translator barely softening his native sibilance. "Your report was most thorough." Maya maintained perfect posture, the neural inhibitor Kai had given her working to suppress her true emotional responses from the Dominion scanners. "Thank you, Admiral. The resistance is scattered but persistent." "Indeed." Krex circled her slowly. "And yet Sub-Commander Vex reports an incident aboard your vessel." "A misunderstanding," Maya replied evenly. "The neural strain of reviewing my homeworld's processing schedule triggered temporary synaptic dissonance. It has been addressed." Krex's tongue flicked out, tasting the air around her. An ancient Saurian instinct their evolution had never fully abandoned. "Perhaps a thorough medical evaluation is in order." "If you insist," Admiral, though it would delay my return to duty during this critical phase. The massive command center bustled around them, representatives from all 12 subjugated species working at terminals under Saurian supervision. Maya's gaze briefly met that of Delphus, the cetacean engineer whose bulky, water-filled envirosuit concealed his true agility. The slight motion of his flipper, a signal they had established months ago, confirmed he had received the encrypted data packet she transmitted during landing. "Walk with me, Commander," Krex ordered, leading her toward the central operations hub. "Your unusual success in our ranks has drawn attention from the Dominion Council." As they traversed the station, Maya cataloged security protocols, patrol patterns, and most importantly, the locations of other subjugated species who had shown subtle signs of discontent. The Prometheus protocol fragments hidden in her neural implant were useless without allies to implement them. "The Council questions the wisdom of allowing a human to command a Dominion vessel," Krex continued, "especially one assigned to Earth's processing." They entered the operations center, where a holographic display showed a dozen worlds in various stages of Dominion development. Earth pulsed an ominous red. "You wish to reassign me," Maya stated. "On the contrary," Krex revealed, his sharp teeth forming what passed for a Saurian smile. "I have personally selected you to lead the processing fleet." Maya's training barely controlled her shock. "An honor," she managed. "A final loyalty test," Krex corrected. "You will oversee the complete processing of your birth world. Your performance will answer the Council's questions, permanently." A commotion erupted across the command center. Guards dragged in a struggling officer, Commander Terex of the Lithari species, his crystalline form dimmed with exhaustion. "A demonstration of consequences," Krex announced loudly. Commander Terex provided schematics to resistance fighters on his homeworld. Maya watched in forced impassivity as Terex was publicly executed, his crystalline body shattered by Dominion energy weapons. The message was unmistakable. "Your new command begins tomorrow," Krex informed her. "The Dominion values your loyalty, Commander Chen." As she left the operations center, Delphus brushed past her, transferring a data chip with trembling flippers. "My family," he whispered. "They processed my home colony yesterday. I'm in." Maya's quarters aboard the Relentless had become a prison. Though she maintained command, the two Saurian advisors assigned by Admiral Krex shadowed her every movement. Lieutenant Severus, a combat specialist with a cybernetically enhanced sensory ridge, and Coordinator Mach, an intelligence officer whose translucent scales changed color with subtle emotional shifts. Both were assassins thinly disguised as administrative support. "The processing fleet requires your review, Commander," Severus announced, entering without permission. He presented a data tablet showing 20 Dominion warships assembled in Jupiter's orbit. "Admiral Krex expresses concern over your methodical pace." Maya nodded, accepting the tablet. "Proper processing requires precision. Earth's resistance has proven more resourceful than anticipated." "Indeed," Mach added from the doorway, his scales rippling with suspicion, "particularly given the loyalty implants now surgically embedded in your crew." The implants had been Krex's first move after Maya's return. Microscopic neural monitors injected into every non-Saurian crew member, designed to detect emotional spikes associated with deception. Maya had only avoided them herself because of her command rank and the prototype neural inhibitor from Kai. A reasonable precaution, Maya conceded, though inside she seethed. The implants had eliminated half her potential allies overnight. When the Saurians finally left, Maya activated the sonic disruptor Delphus had installed beneath her desk, the only place on board not constantly monitored. She had 8 minutes to make contact with the Resistance before the ship's security systems would detect the disruption. "Emergency Protocol 7. She subvocalized into a transmitter disguised as a dental implant. "Rendezvous compromised. Seeking alternate channel." The response came immediately. Kai's voice, distorted but recognizable. "Confirmed. Lieutenant Hoshi has position. Proceed with caution." Lieutenant James Hoshi. her most trusted human officer, had been planetside during her visit to Earth. Maya had risked everything by recruiting him, but she needed someone on her crew who could move freely between ships. During the next cycle's maintenance period, Maya engineered a meeting with Hoshi in the outer airlock chamber, the one blind spot in the ship's surveillance network due to radiation interference from the nearby engine cooling vents. "Prometheus?" she asked without preamble. "Partial success," Hoshi replied, his voice barely audible above the machinery. "The Resistance activated a component, but the neural interface is incomplete. They need the command codes from your implant. The ship's systems are locked down." "I can't." "I can," Hoshi interrupted. "But the timing has to be perfect. Maintenance airlock, next cycle." "I've modified the airlock door hissed. Someone was overriding the locks. "Tomorrow," Maya whispered. "Whatever it takes." Hoshi nodded, sliding a data chip into her pocket as the door opened to reveal Coordinator Malk, his scales flashing accusatory red. "Unauthorized meeting, Commander." "Scheduled maintenance review," Maya replied smoothly. The next day, Maya watched in horror as the maintenance airlock experienced a catastrophic failure, an explosion that appeared to be an accident to all but those who knew better. The blast claimed Lieutenant Hoshi, who had orchestrated his own death to create the diversion that allowed his transmission to reach the Resistance. That night, Maya woke to find Malk standing over her bed, holding a data fragment recovered from the blast. "I know what you've done," he said softly, scales now a triumphant purple. "You have one opportunity, Commander. Work for us against your pitiful Resistance, or watch Earth die first, followed by everyone you've ever cared about." Maya's hand moved before her conscious mind made the decision. She struck Malk's wrist, sending the data fragment flying across her quarters. The Saurian coordinator hissed in surprise, his scales flashing combat red. "You've made your choice, then," he said, reaching for his neural disruptor. "I made it long ago," Maya replied, rolling from her bed and sweeping Malk's legs from under him. She had seconds before his neural implant would alert security. Maya did the only thing that might save her mission. She triggered the emergency protocols she'd secretly embedded in the ship's systems. Alarms blared as the Relentless reported a cascade failure in the propulsion system. "Full stop. Collision course with asteroid field," the ship's AI announced, as Maya had programmed it to do. The sudden lurch as the engines cut out sent both Maya and Malk tumbling in the artificial gravity fluctuation. Maya recovered first, slamming her palm against the door control and sealing Malk inside her quarters as she escaped into the chaos-filled corridor. Lieutenant Severus appeared around a corner, weapon drawn. "Commander, what's happening?" "Engine malfunction," Maya answered, adopting the tone of a concerned commander. "We're drifting into an asteroid field. I need to reach the bridge immediately." 6 hours later, the damaged Relentless limped into the Dominion maintenance outpost at Ganymede. Maya had executed her gambit perfectly. The ship had sustained enough actual damage to justify emergency repairs, but nothing critical enough to prevent eventual departure. Coordinator Malk had been temporarily contained, his accusations undermined by Maya's apparent heroics in saving the ship from a genuine navigational crisis. But his silence wouldn't last forever. In the reactor core chamber, where the outpost's security protocols were temporarily disabled to allow for repair work, Maya met with Delphis and 3 other trusted crew members, a Lithari engineer, a human navigation officer, and a Vaporian communications specialist. "We have approximately 40 minutes, Maya told them, her voice hushed despite the reactor's ambient noise. "Delphis, can you embed the activation sequences?" The Cetacean's flippers worked deftly at the exposed maintenance terminal. "Already underway, Commander. The codes are being transmitted as routine diagnostic signals, too mundane for Dominion intelligence to flag." The Lithari engineer manipulated crystalline structures that would encode the Prometheus protocol into the maintenance network. "This will reach all 12 sectors eventually, but it will take time to propagate." "Time we don't have," Maya grimaced. The processing fleet departs in 3 days. A shadow fell across the terminal. Lieutenant Severus stood in the doorway, neural disruptor aimed at Maya's head. Treason confirmed, he announced, scales flaring with satisfaction. Step away from the terminal. Everyone stand down, Maya ordered her team, raising her hand slowly. She had anticipated this possibility, had prepared for it. Dominion security has been alerted, Severus continued. They're locking down the station now. I understand, Maya replied calmly. Then, with practiced precision, she kicked off from the floor, utilizing the reactor section's reduced gravity. Severus fired, but Maya was already rotating above him, her human adaptability giving her an advantage the Saurian's rigid combat training hadn't prepared him for. As they grappled in zero gravity, Delphus completed the transmission. Across the solar system, resistance cells received the complete Prometheus protocol. On a small Dominion outpost near Neptune, the first prototype activated, creating a cascading failure that temporarily severed the Saurian officers from their neural network. For 23 seconds, the Dominion faltered as its rulers lost their connection to their command intelligence, and that was all the opening Maya needed. As the Relentless underwent repairs, Maya received an encrypted message on her personal terminal, disguised as a routine maintenance update. The coordinates led to an abandoned mining moon orbiting Saturn, far from the regular patrol routes. With the ship grounded and her authority temporarily intact after subduing Severus, Maya seized her opportunity. Commander Chen requesting permission for reconnaissance patrol, she announced on the command channel. Dominion intelligence reports possible resistance activity in the Saturn sector. The request was approved without question. Her fabricated intelligence reports had established a pattern of diligent pursuit of resistance cells. Within hours, her personal shuttle detached from the repair dock, ostensibly on a standard sweep pattern. The mining moon loomed ahead, its surface cratered not just from natural impacts, but from decades of Dominion extraction. Maya guided her shuttle into a massive fissure, the sensors detecting an artificial cavity deep within. As she landed in the hidden hangar, she was greeted not by humans, but by a delegation unlike any she had seen before. Commander Chen, said a towering crystalline figure, its faceted surface refracting the dim light. I am Xeris of the Lithari. Beside the crystalline entity hovered a containment field shimmering with golden vapor. Aura, of the Vaporians, introduced a melodic voice from within the mist. The third delegate was the most alien, a swarm of iridescent insectoid creatures that coalesced into a vaguely humanoid shape. We are Nexus, it said in perfect unison. We speak for the Nyx Collective. What is this? Maya asked, hand instinctively near her weapon. This, said Xeris, is the Council of the Oppressed, representatives from species who, like humanity, suffer under Saurian rule. Aura's vapor shifted colors as she spoke. For centuries, we believed ourselves alone in our subjugation. The Dominion isolated us, telling each species that they alone were resistant, while others served willingly. A lie. Continued Nexus, the swarm shifting patterns. We have watched your species, Commander Chen. Though humans are the newest conquest, barely 50 years under the Dominion heel, your resistance has never faltered. Maya was led deeper into the facility, where technology from multiple worlds had been assembled in secret. What you're doing, what humanity has done, inspires us, Xeris explained. The Prometheus protocol may have originated with your species, but we can enhance it. The Lithari presented Maya with a crystal that pulsed with inner light. This will mask your neural patterns from Dominion scans, Xeris explained. Temporary, but effective. Aura's containment field approached. The Vaporians have mapped hyperlane shortcuts unknown to the Dominion. Your ships can move undetected through these corridors. The Nyx swarm separated, revealing an organic computing node. Our collective intelligence has decoded portions of your Prometheus protocol. With human neural patterns as the key, we can disable the Dominion's command structure across all occupied worlds simultaneously, As Maya absorbed the implications, a proximity alarm sounded. "Dominion patrol approaching," announced a technician. "They tracked me," Maya realized with horror. "No," said Ixeris. "We have a traitor." The Council's security footage revealed the truth. One of Maya's most trusted human allies had been compromised, replaced by a Saurian operative using mimetic technology. The operative had already transmitted their location to the approaching Dominion forces. "If they find this facility," Maya stated grimly, "everything we've worked for dies here." "We have 18 minutes before Dominion forces breach the outer defenses," Maya announced to the assembled council. "We need to execute now." The leaders of the subjugated species nodded in grim agreement. What had been planned as a coordinated attack over weeks would now have to happen in hours. "Nexus, transmit the Prometheus activation codes to all resistance cells," Maya ordered. The Nyx swarm vibrated in acknowledgement, their collective intelligence distributing the complex neural interface instructions faster than any computer system could. Aura's vapor form glowed as she accessed the hidden communication network. "Hyperlane coordinates transmitted to our ships. They await your signal, Commander." Maya activated her neural implant, linking directly with the facility's communication array. Using Admiral Krex's own security codes, stolen during her time on the command station, she transmitted false intelligence about a massive resistance fleet gathering in the Kuiper Belt. The Dominion's predictable response was immediate. Maya's console showed dozens of Saurian vessels diverting from their assigned routes. Simultaneously, she broadcast a message on all frequencies used by subjugated species. The transmission included not just words but data packets embedded with evidence of Saurian atrocities, the processing of inhabited worlds, the deliberate suppression of technologies, the systematic destruction of cultures. "This is Commander Maya Chen of Earth," she began, her voice steady despite the klaxons now wailing throughout the facility. "For too long we have served those who enslave us. For too long we have believed ourselves alone in our suffering." As she spoke, the Prometheus protocol activated across the solar system. On Dominion ships and outposts, Saurian officers suddenly clutched their heads as their neural networks faltered. "The time has come to choose," Maya continued. "Freedom or continued slavery. I have chosen freedom." On the Relentless, still undergoing repairs, her diverse crew received her transmission. The ship's security feed showed the confusion on the bridge as her message played, followed by the decisive moment when Lieutenant Rodriguez, her human navigation officer, rose from his station. "I stand with Commander Chen," he declared. One by one, others joined, first humans, then cetaceans, then members of every subjugated species aboard. The Saurian officers, their neural connection to the Dominion command, temporarily severed by the Prometheus protocol, found themselves outnumbered and isolated. The mining facility shook as the first Dominion strike hit the outer defenses. Maya raced to her shuttle, Ixeris and representatives from the Council following. "Can your crystal technology interface with Dominion weapons systems?" Maya asked the Lithari as they boarded. "Theoretically," Ixeris replied, crystalline fingers already adapting to the shuttle's control systems. The small craft shot from the hidden hangar just as Dominion forces breached the facility. In the chaos of the assault, they escaped detection, accelerating toward the Dominion flagship that had just arrived in orbit. Across the solar system, resistance cells activated their Prometheus devices. Dominion neural networks failed in cascading patterns, leaving their military temporarily paralyzed. The multi-species rebellion launched simultaneously on 12 key worlds, catching the Saurians in a perfect strategic trap of Maya's design. As her shuttle approached the flagship, Maya opened a direct channel to Admiral Krex. "Admiral, this is Commander Chen. I believe it's time we discussed new terms for Earth's processing. Retrouillage." The final battle for Earth unfolded in the swirling debris field of Saturn's rings. Maya's commandeered Dominion cruiser, renamed Liberation, led a hastily assembled coalition fleet against Admiral Krex's forces. Her ship shuddered as Saurian energy weapons found their mark. Shields at 40%, reported her Lithari tactical officer, crystals flickering with strain. Use the ice fragments for cover, Maya ordered. Pattern Delta 7. The Coalition vessels executed the unconventional maneuver, using the ring particles as both shield and weapon. It was the kind of adaptive tactic the rigid Saurian command structure struggled to counter, the very reason they had feared humanity's potential. On the main view screen, Admiral Krex's flagship emerged from Saturn's shadow, its massive weapon arrays targeting the Liberation. "They've locked on," warned Delphus, his flippers working frantically across the engineering console. Maya activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, prepare for Emergency Protocol Omega." As Krex's vessel fired, Maya's ship appeared to explode in a brilliant flash. The Saurian command channel erupted in victory declarations, premature, as Maya had intended. The Liberation had not been destroyed, but had used Vaporian phase shift technology to briefly exist out of normal spacetime, appearing destroyed while actually repositioning for a counterattack. When the Liberation rematerialized, it was directly alongside the Saurian flagship. Before Krex could react, Maya's boarding teams, led by humans, Lithari, and Nyx commandos, breached the hull. The battle through the flagship's corridors was fierce but brief. With Prometheus devices disrupting the Saurians' neural network, their coordinated defense collapsed into individual combat, where the adaptive humans, energy-manipulating Lithari, and collectively intelligent Nyx held the advantage. Maya confronted Admiral Krex on his own bridge. The massive Saurian commander towered over her, his ceremonial armor pulsing with emergency power systems. "You have lost everything, human," he snarled, even as reports of successful rebellions flooded in from across Dominion space. "No," Maya replied, activating the neural techniques that made humans uniquely dangerous to the Dominion. "I've remembered what you made us forget, that no species was meant to stand alone." As she focused her thoughts through the enhanced Prometheus protocol, Krex howled in agony. The connection between his neural implant and the Dominion network wasn't just temporarily severed, it was permanently burned out. In the days that followed, the Saurian fleet retreated to their homeworld, their empire crumbling as planet after planet declared independence. On Earth, environmental restoration teams from a dozen species worked to heal the damage of 50 years of exploitation. 1 month after the battle, Maya stood on a restored hillside overlooking what had once been Seattle. The dust storms had begun to clear, revealing glimpses of blue sky for the first time in decades. Behind her, representatives from all 12 formerly subjugated species gathered for the inaugural meeting of the Covenant of Equals. "Is this what victory feels like?" asked Kai, joining her at the viewpoint. "I always imagined more certainty." Maya watched the ships from distant worlds descending through Earth's atmosphere, not as conquerors but as allies. "It's not victory," she answered. "It's beginning." As delegates from across the galaxy entered the newly constructed Covenant Hall, Maya took her place not at its head, but as one voice among equals, proof that humanity's greatest strength had never been conquest, but connection. The stars above were no longer the domain of their oppressors, but a shared frontier of possibility. The stellar dominion had fallen, and in its place, something better would rise. The final battle for Earth unfolded in the swirling debris field of Saturn's rings. Maya's commandeered Dominion cruiser, renamed Liberation, led a hastily assembled coalition fleet against Admiral Krex's forces. Her ship shuddered as Saurian energy weapons found their mark. "Shields at 40%, reported her Lithari tactical officer, crystals flickering with strain. "Use the ice fragments for cover," Maya ordered. Pattern Delta 7. The Coalition vessels executed the unconventional maneuver, using the ring particles as both shield and weapon. It was the kind of adaptive tactic the rigid Saurian command structure struggled to counter, the very reason they had feared humanity's potential. On the main view screen, Admiral Krex's flagship emerged from Saturn's shadow, its massive weapon arrays targeting the Liberation. "They've locked on," warned Delphus, his flippers working frantically across the engineering console. Maya activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, prepare for Emergency Protocol Omega. As Krex's vessel fired, Maya's ship appeared to explode in a brilliant flash. The Saurian command channel erupted in victory declarations, premature as Maya had intended. The Liberation had not been destroyed, but had used Vaporian phase shift technology to briefly exist out of normal spacetime, appearing destroyed while actually repositioning for a counterattack. When the Liberation rematerialized, it was directly alongside the Saurian flagship. Before Krex could react, Maya's boarding teams, led by humans, Lithari, and Nyx commandos, breached the hull. The battle through the flagship's corridors was fierce but brief. With Prometheus devices disrupting the Saurians' neural network, their coordinated defense collapsed into individual combat, where the adaptive humans, energy-manipulating Lithari, and collectively intelligent Nyx held the advantage. Maya confronted Admiral Krex on his own bridge. The massive Saurian commander towered over her, his ceremonial armor pulsing with emergency power systems. "You have lost everything, human," he snarled, even as reports of successful rebellions flooded in from across Dominion space. "No," Maya replied, activating the neural techniques that made humans uniquely dangerous to the Dominion. "I've remembered what you made us forget, that no species was meant to stand alone." As she focused her thoughts through the enhanced Prometheus protocol, Krex howled in agony. The connection between his neural implant and the Dominion network wasn't just temporarily severed, it was permanently burned out. In the days that followed, the Saurian fleet retreated to their homeworld, their empire crumbling as planet after planet declared independence. On Earth, environmental restoration teams from a dozen species worked to heal the damage of 50 years of exploitation. 1 month after the battle, Maya stood on a restored hillside overlooking what had once been Seattle. The dust storms had begun to clear, revealing glimpses of blue sky for the first time in decades. Behind her, representatives from all 12 formerly subjugated species gathered for the inaugural meeting of the Covenant of Equals. "Is this what victory feels like?" asked Kai, joining her at the viewpoint. "I always imagined more certainty." Maya watched the ships from distant worlds descending through Earth's atmosphere, not as conquerors but as allies. "It's not victory," she answered. "It's beginning." As delegates from across the galaxy entered the newly constructed Covenant Hall, Maya took her place not at its head, but as one voice among equals, proof that humanity's greatest strength had never been conquest, but connection. The stars above were no longer the domain of their oppressors, but a shared frontier of possibility. The stellar dominion had fallen, and in its place, something better would rise.